Plaintiff Tammy LeBeau says she married the defendant when she was 22. And after she left him, she became addicted to crack. Tammy claims since their divorce, the defendant has been asking her for sex, despite the fact that he's married and his wife is with him in court today. She's suing her ex for the value of a motorcycle. Defendant Wayne LeBeau says ever since he's known Tammy, it's been a roller coaster. And he insists he's never asked her for sex since their divorce. Wayne claims over the years he's given Tammy over $80,000 in loans, and he's countersuing her today for 2 of the loans and motorcycle repairs.
All right, start with you.
I started dating Wayne when I was 17, almost 18. We got married when I was 22. 94, I had left Wayne, and that's when my crack addiction started.
You attribute it to the breakup or something?
No, it was just somebody I met and being naive, and it just happened, and it turned into a 20-year addiction.
Yeah.
And Wayne and I were divorced in '99, and the day we signed papers, I let Wayne know about my addiction at that time. Sometime after that, Wayne had loaned me money a couple times. And he had invited me up to his place. And I've been to both of his places up north. Mm-hmm. He's also been to my apartment, and wanting sex and stuff. So
okay. That's not unusual. Sometimes ex-spouses,
right. So
they look back and see that, no one's as good.
Yep, and
that's what was going on?
Yes, and it had continued.
All right.
Through not the sex, but the talking about it, the calls, and
so
wanting
you didn't have
to
sex
do it.
again. You just talked about sex.
Yes, when you kind of come to my
no, you don't have to just talk about it. You can do it at any age. How old are you, sir?
I'm 76.
Yeah, you don't have to just talk about it now. You can keep doing it.
Right.
That's what you're trying to suggest, that he went from doing it to just talking about it?
No, talking about it on the phone, because I would.
Yeah.
Well, I kept refusing to, even when I was
asking you to have it,
yes.
And then you're rejecting it.
Yes, correct.
All right. So what has been going on since that time?
Well, I've been in my addiction for 20 years. I completed a 13-month program, long-term program at Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge. And Wayne I had talked to him then too when I was in there, and he asked me, when are we gonna excuse my language, but that was his word.
He's still been asking?
He's still been asking, and I believe that this whole thing is over because I refuse. And now he's pissed.
All right.
Now he's mad.
Okay.
And now this is why it brought us here.
This is his lady?
Yes,
his
it is.
His girlfriend? Or?
His wife.
Oh.
His wife.
Of how many years?
Well, we divorced in '99, so I think they got married probably just after that.
All right, let me hear from you, sir, and then we'll get to the motorcycle she's suing about. Mm-hmm.
That's not true, Your Honor. It's been a real roller coaster with her since the day I ever started dating her. The DUIs and the drug treatment and the being arrested for drug paraphernalia and all this expenses. And it was a headache at the separation. And it was bad after we separated. I paid her.
How was it bad after you separated? She was out of your life, I assume.
She kept calling me. I have evidence here of me giving her over $80,000 since we separated.
Why would you do that?
Because she asked for it, and it was most of it was borrowing it. It wasn't giving most, but I never never saw a payment of nothing ever.
So you never got any of the $80,000. On average, how much would you give her per year?
Nothing.
Well, I have it all written down, Your Honor.
Let's see it. That's a lot of money to give since that divorce.
I never knew it at the time.
$80,000?
I never knew it at the time, but I think she was probably doing drugs.
You gave her $20,000 cash, $11,000 for a Mustang, $5,000 for 2 cars, $1,000 for cash.
Yeah, she worked for my company. I gave her a job. There wasn't a position for her, but I found a position.
$750 for a pickup, $8,000 for down payment on a house, and $10,000 for a tour. So I'll just go over the big items. Ma'am, did he give you $11,000 for a Mustang?
It was a gift.
All right. Did he give you another $5,000 for 2 other cars?
He had bought me these cars. He had never wanted no money in return.
About the $8,600 for down payment on the house.
Yes, he did.
All
it was a gift.
And what? You're rich or something?
No,
Obviously
because she
you're rich.
asked me for it for one.
All right, I need 80. You say he was giving it to you because he was coming over. Y'all were hooking up.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's all that makes sense. She's saying we're not together anymore. You still want to come on over here. So when you come over here, make sure you have your pockets full.
Your Honor, no.
That's what was happening.
Your Honor.
That's what was happening.
Your Honor, we weren't hooking up at that time.
Okay, you never hooked up with her since '99.
No.
Good enough. All right, you stick with that story.
Yeah.
What else you want me to know about your friendship with your ex-wife or anything
Well,
else
she was
before
the
we
one
get into the motorcycle?
Oh, excuse me. She was the one that was calling me to go out. She called me last year and asked me if I'd take her in the plane riding. And she was always asking me for things. And I wouldn't do it. I was married.
Got it. Has she been hitting on you?
Not really.
Okay.
No, not.
Your Honor, that is so not true.
All right.
Well,
Ma'am, you see, he denies it. I believe him. Don't pay no attention to her. Motorcycle, 5,000.
Yes, I had pawned my trike. That's how I was in my addiction. I pawned my trike, and it was 2010. And I asked Wayne to help me get my trike out. And I promised to repay him when I got my inheritance from my uncle.
All right, this is sharp.
Yeah, it is.
This is sharp.
Wayne bought me that for my birthday in '91.
This is really sharp. Okay.
I also
and-
have pictures that says Tammy's Dream on the back.
All right, let's see him. And you pawned it for how much?
$4,000.
4?
Well, that's what the payoff was to get it out, was $4,000.
And you borrowed those monies from
From Wayne,
ex-husband?
yes.
Okay. 4,000.
Yes.
And when was that again?
That was in 2010 was when he got the trike.
Okay.
Once I got the trike back from the pawn shop. He came and got the trike and the title because I had nowhere to put it because I was moving. So he brought my trike and the title up to the shop, in which this states that he put the title in his name almost immediately
Okay.
after he received it.
And got your money.
I got my
he-
money
all right.
a year later. It was in December the year later, and right off the top, I gave him the $4,000.
And he won't give the bike back. Sir, what do you say to this?
Your Honor, a lot of that isn't true. She called me and asked me if I'd borrow her $4,000.
In 2010?
Yes. So I borrowed it to her. And then we also discussed that there was things wrong. She said it was leaking oil on the garage floor and it was leaking. And I told her I would fix that. And she was fine with it. And I told her I'd fix the oil leaks. And so anyway, when I sent somebody to get the trike and got it back to my place, it was a total mess. And I didn't start working on it right away because it needed so much. It needed everything. The antenna broken, the
I
speedometer
did
not
not
working.
tell him
ma'am.
to do.
Everything. The everything. You couldn't name.
Got your point. What
All right.
else you want me
All
to
right.
know?
So then I waited to work on it. And I started working on it in the spring of 2011. And I had to take the motor apart and the transmission apart.
Sir, I don't need to hear all that.
right.
What happened to her bike? Why won't you give it back?
I've tried. I put $2,000 worth of parts and labor
Still
in the
want to
trike.
talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, why won't you give her trike back?
Because she won't pay for it. And
Okay.
I had to stop loaning her
And what
money.
was the agreement?
The agreement was I was to fix the trike, and I fixed the
Did
trike.
you give her an estimate for repair?
No. Because
All right, so you just did whatever you want and handed her a bill, say, here it is, and if you don't give me this, I'm keeping it.
Yep.
That's
No,
a good deal.
No,
Your
but-
counterclaim for $3,000 for motorcycle repairs and unpaid loans. How does she owe you for that?
She owes for the $2,000 for the expenses to the trike, and she owes for.
You have evidence of the expenses
Somewhere here.
or the estimate for these repairs
is what
you gave her?
This is.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I was in my addiction. I had lost absolutely everything. Why would he fix my trike for $2,000, being that I already owed him money and I had no
and
money
he charged
and had
you,
nothing.
the majority of it is for labor. Go ahead, his own labor.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Now, how does she owe you?
Well, then down below, she owes that other money below, too, of loans, right below that.
Prove
And-
it. Do you owe him money for loans?
No.
She says no.
No.
That's why I'm asking you to prove it. Testimony, when you gave it to her, when she said she would repay.
It's on there.
I'm not
Dave.
reading anything. You must prove it. Here, there it is. If it's on there, take it back and prove it.
Well, Your Honor, how can she prove she doesn't?
No, she don't have to prove she doesn't. You have to prove she did.
Oh.
You have the burden. If you can't describe when it happened and convince me that it happened and when she was supposed to repay it, then you haven't proven it. You have the burden of proving by a preponderance of the evidence or by your testimony. If you can't prove it, I can't grant you a
Well,
judgment.
Your Honor, I can testify to it.
All right, tell me then.
All right. These loans were, and they're all here, cash of $800 in 1999, a check, which I have the check blanks here, cash.
99.
Yeah. And checks of 200, checks of 400, checks of 1,000.
You don't want the other 80,000?
No, no.
So how did you determine what
No,
part of the 80,000 was a loan and what part of the
Your Honor,
80,000 was
I quit on
gift?
that.
I know you wrote it down. Did she write it down?
No, because.
Sir, I don't believe you. Your claim is dismissed. I don't believe you. You can keep the trike. How's that? You got a good deal. Keep the trike and pay her for it. $5,000 is your judgment.
Amen.
Keep the trike and I dismiss your loans. I don't believe out of that 80,000 she agreed to pay you a dime back. Have a good day. That's my
Amen.
judgment.
I am too much lady to talk about.
What I have to say it's a good outcome because now I don't ever have to speak to her ever again, which I like. And I do have a trike I don't want, but
Right.
I've got it. And
I know he know how to hide the call. He know how to hide the calls because I know that she calling always asking for something.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say I'm happy for the outcome. That's it. That's all I got to say.